don't they follow so much etiquette and like just in a stupid way, like when they meet another Mahabhavi, they say, "Oh, Narayan, you are God," and they say, "Oh, Narayan back, you are also God," and then they acknowledge each other being God.
Yes, they do. I forgot what I was thinking about, but it was like they don't want to serve Krishna. They don't want to be a servant. They want to be God. Want to be served, respected, acknowledged.
You can say the purpose of etiquette is like to serve and to please Krishna. So without that aspect, it's not really etiquette.
What I was thinking that they want to become God, and because they want so much. Because when you think that you're one, and you think that others are less than you. I'm God, or that they think everyone is God. But how can you show proper respect to anyone if you think you're God? If you think I'm one. So it doesn't make sense. That's why I said it must be some pollution there. That makes them not able to follow proper ethics.
I'm also thinking that because like they say that you are God, I'm God, everything is God, but that's like materialistic people. They are talking about freedom because they want freedom. So they say, okay, so if I should have freedom, then okay, I suppose it includes that everyone else also will get it. Because so in the same way, like if they just go around and say, I am God and you're not, then there might be some conflict there. So in order to have their own illusion that they are God, they also say, yeah, I'm God, but you're also God. You can have it too.
Yeah, they might think like that. I'm God, you're God, we're all God. But it's conflict comes when they don't put Krishna in the center, they are in the center. So they think, oh, you're all one, but I'm a little more one than you. Maybe they think like this.
Especially when the two gods like the same girlfriend.
Yeah. Suddenly it was not all one anymore. Like Srila Prabhupada says, they think it's all one, but they're very they also, everything is illusion. It's all illusion. It's all illusion. But they're very expert at enjoying the illusion. It's just cheating. It's just cheating. Cheat people like this. Yes.
But a person actually engaging, like Mayavad philosophers, they also have some kind of process. And like they try somewhat to restrict themselves from like sense gratification and pragyalpa and these different kinds of stuff.
These Mayavadis, I don't really know them. I just heard about them that they're very strict, They only accept in their ashram, sannyasis, very strict. Like this. But they're envious of Krishna. And they deride Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Also we read from Chaitanya Charitamrita. They deride the devotees as sentimentalists. Although they think it's they think that you have to be living like this, very strict. In some way, it's something, something to appreciate there also. They're very strict, following rules, and they don't do this sin
this spring we went after just before Gorkani, we had our yatra in Rishikesh, as we do sometimes, and there's a yogi festival. That's what there is. And so Radhanath Swami, he was giving a lecture in Shivananda Ashram, which is like in India. They're the head of the Mayavadis, the Shivananda Ashram. So I was very surprised that he gave a lecture there, because they're very strict and they're reciting. They were reciting before Radhanath Swami even spoke. They were reciting Sanskrit mantras for 1 hour. They did the entire 11th and maybe also 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and several other texts that we know. But then when Radhanath Swami he started speaking, he said, how is he going to, how will he preach to these people, you know, without disturbing them? So then he actually spoke on Chaitanya Lila. He spoke about Kolavesha Shrita and his exchange with Chaitanya Mahabhavi, which is very personal, and they really appreciate it.
Like they said that it touched their heart.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was also the story in Chaitanya Charitamrita, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu converted the Mayavadis. It was his great humility. His great humility softened their heart, and they actually became devotees. And he took prasada with them. Yes?
Like we see these Mayavadis who are very strict, like in Shivananda Ashram, chant so many mantras and like engage in some sort of anatani vritti, because they try to get rid of the impurities. So if they get like a little frightened by impersonalism and they get attracted by Krishna consciousness, aren't they on like quite a level already? Because like they might have cleared so many stages of like gross sense gratification that we are still struggling with. So in that way they can quicker get to Nishta, and that because the mind is just fixed already, so you just fix it on Krishna.
It's, we read from the Bhagavad Gita, that it's also said like this, that it's a gradual process, tries to meditate, tries to understand everything, what is matter, what is spirit, and then gradually come up to realizing the super soul, and then you can get Bhagavan realization. But still the problem remains, as I mentioned, and Srila Prabhupada has talks about it in the 12th chapter, this, because of long practice of the impersonal meditation, they have problems with going past that to any higher realizations. And even if they get higher realizations, then they also get problems. Because then they're so accustomed to, becoming one, that they cannot give up the idea. They are so accustomed to it. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, therefore one should never take up this process. But we see they can also become devotees. We see from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. So, if anyone has any comments on that,
I think it's
Mataji was
that to give up the enviousness, just that you gave up your gross sense gratification, still you're acting out of lust. But of course, if you're in my body and you come, or Brahma body, and you come to devotional service, then you don't have, but still you have, in the heart, you have subtle contamination. And it might be very, very difficult. It's very easy to take up devotional service. You don't have to work for a lot of years to control the senses, but there is great contamination in there, and it might be very, very difficult. Because the subtle contamination when you're Mayavadi is that you want to be distinct, something, you want to define yourself, who you are, something supreme. So to give up that contamination, it might be very, very difficult. What do you say, Pandit? No.
The thing is that there is a distinction between Brahmavadi and Mayavadi, that this needs to be made. And Brahmavadi has no an offensive mentality towards Krishna. But the Mayavadi, yes, he thinks that the form of Krishna is material, and he rejects, and that's what is being mentioned there in the Bhagavad Gita. And like we say nicely that, in fact, I think Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives like a Sanskrit name for this, but he says that the biggest form of attachment is to want to become one with God. It's the most difficult thing to give up. So Prabhupada, one of the purposes, explains that even though they say that our process is very easy, because it's a fact, the process is very tough. You know, you can imagine like following the Four Agreed Principles without prasadam, without kirtan, without association of the devotees, without deities. I mean, they have deities also, but we have so much sense enjoyment. Krishna calls it spiritual sense enjoyment. But they don't. So it's really tough. I mean, most of us will be jumping out of the window after 2 weeks we follow this process.
2 weeks?
2 hours, right?
2 seconds.
But the most difficult thing, but however, still, they won't take up Krishna consciousness because they have to give up the false ego.
Yeah.
That's the most difficult thing to give up. So our process may be easy, relation with this, but like you were saying at the beginning, that is so potent that actually it breaks down the false ego. That's the last thing they want to do. Like you see that some of these guys, these yogis, they are doing great tapasya in the Himalayas. They sit down midday in the scorching sun, and they set a fire, and they sit down and meditate, and everybody's like, wow, But they won't chant. They will just do this because I am still the controller. I am still the doer. And that's the very root of the condition. So that's the difficult thing. And Krishna says ultimately they won't get anything for that. He says no profit. Repeated birth and death. That's the profit.
Potential.
No, there is no one little bit of spiritual advancement. For the Mahabhavis, yes, there may be, but not for the Mayavadis. They're just offensive and they will have to suffer.
Also thinking, maybe it's a question also how envious to Mayavadi, because the philosophy is so much. You see Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was also completely in Mayavadi philosophy.
By contact with the devotees, yeah.
Yeah.
If you come in contact with the devotees, then he can change. Yeah,
He would change. So he wasn't was not hard envy there.
Well, but Prakasananda Saraswati was the leader of all the Mayavadis. By coming in touch with Mahaprabhu, it changed. So there is hope. Yeah, there is hope. And that's why perhaps Radha Swami is preaching at the Shivnana Ashram. Because if I come in touch with the devotees, they can change. But it's like, for every process, even in the Brahmavaris, unless they come in touch with the devotee, they won't make further progress in the Brahman realization. So the devotee association is so essential. Not only for us to make further progress, but those in the path.
When we were in Philadelphia, there was a Buddhist in Rhodes, very older gentleman, 50, 60 years. He came to the Bhagavatam lecture and he stayed, and he kind of really liked everything about it. In the end, he gave a really good donation to the temple, and
Nice.
it works.
Jai.
Samare Prabhupada ki
Jai.